Thomari, happy you're here. We're here. We're doing it. We're doing it in.
Melbourne, Florida. It's a nice morning here in Melbourne. Not Melbourne, Australia.
This is going to be a reoccurring thing because you travel so often because you're moving and grooving that it's going to be fun. Like, where's Thomari now? Where's Thomari next?
It's almost like Where's Waldo, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I,
And your
I,
background always changes. So I'm going to take a wild guess in the beginning, be like, you look like you're, and then probably be completely off, be like, no, I'm in Melbourne, Florida.
yeah, Melbourne. It's actually next to Vero Beach, Florida. And when I was playing professional baseball, that Vero Beach is where I spent 6 years of my life, and that's why Melbourne. My business partner lives here, and so Melbourne's kind of close to home because I spent 6 years of my life here. So coming back home is always nice.
Mm, okay, I did not know that. So that's the connection there.
Yeah, that's the
Ah,
connection.
yeah, yeah. All right. So let's get started here. We're talking about credit repair. This one, we're going to be kind of focusing on a little bit of bankruptcy and child support. So take it away, Thomari.
Yeah, so bankruptcies affect the credit report because when a bankruptcy shows on a credit report, it shows creditors that, there was a problem that happened, and like we talked about before, like a credit report usually tells a story, and so when you see a bankruptcy on there and you're a lender, it says that, caution, and it's a ding to the credit. It's a negative ding to the credit, much like a charge off, much like a collection, because a bankruptcy definitely doesn't help you. And so, based off of the date it was discharged, that's ultimately how long it's going to stay on your credit report. And so, it negatively affects your credit report because when creditors pull up your credit, they see that they're gonna there's going to be limitations of what you can do. In fact, in real estate transactions, if you have a bankruptcy, you have to wait 2 years until you can apply for a mortgage. And so that's how significantly it can impact your credit report in terms of getting a home loan and a VA loan. Or, that's how it can impact your credit report in terms of moving forward.
Mm. So this is definitely not something that you want to handle yourself because there's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of ins and outs. And I mean, this was my first time learning about that credit repair companies actually can help something as because I feel like a bankruptcy is like the worst of the worst that can happen to you as far as trying to build your life back and with the end goal being like, hey, if you aren't a homeowner when you go bankrupt, then that's a huge now obstacle in your way to even overcoming that and getting on the path to clean that up.
Correct. So when a bankruptcy shows on your credit report, it actually shows all of the negative items that were discharged. So not only does it show the negative item of a bankruptcy, and that's in the public records section of the credit report, it also shows every item that was discharged in the bankruptcy as well. And so, coming from the credit repair angle, what we do is that we not only dispute the public records section of the credit report, but also each individual item that the bankruptcy covered. And so, by doing that, we're able to clean those negative items off of the credit report. So then the bankruptcy is not holding the client back towards their goals.
Mm, gotcha. So you handle a wide range of clientele, anywhere from just disputing the credit card charge all the way up to a full bankruptcy.
Yes. So anything negative on a credit report, you can dispute. So inquiries, bankruptcies, collections, charge offs. In fact, you can actually uh, delete uh, personal information that doesn't match up. So you don't want to have like your past addresses that you lived at because those are attached to potentially negative items on the credit report. So one of the things that you can do in the credit repair process is clean up the personal information. So then when it comes to the negative items that we're talking about, bankruptcies, charge-offs, collections, inquiries, then we can dispute those after the personal information is cleaned up.
I remember you touched on that last time. That's step number one that you can attempt to do by yourself is clean up your data, clean up your credit report to make sure your addresses are up to date or to take away. And if that's something that is probably out of your wheelhouse because you're not very tech savvy, and I know for a lot of these credit reports, you have to know exactly where to look for it to make sense. That's what Thomari and his team is for.
Yes, and that's where the having a monitoring service comes into play. We always recommend our clients have some type of monitoring service, uh, and the easiest way to get a monitoring service is the bureaus like Experian. They offer a monitoring service for free where you can actually check your Experian report for free if you sign up. And so Equifax has a free portion, and so does TransUnion. And so what you can do is you can actually go in the backside of the credit with the credit bureaus, sign up for an account, and have access to your full real-time report. So that's pretty significant when you're talking about all three bureaus, and that's kind of a hack right there for clients to literally, when you go on the website, you can you can actually go on and click on dispute, and then also create an account where you're able to access your credit report in the backside of the credit bureaus. So that's a little hack
Mm,
right there.
nice. Ooh, okay, okay. That's a nice one to know. And let's move on to the next one. Let's see. Okay.
So when there's circumstances when the bankruptcies can be removed or modified, and so everything that has to happen on a credit report comes from the dispute side, right? So no matter whether you're an attorney, you're disputing on your own, you know, information can be modified and deleted or updated and verified. So ultimately, you have to start with the dispute process. And so there are circumstances where, you know, based off of, and every client's going to be a little different. So if you're trying to do DIY, do credit report yourself, then I would just suggest that you research it or you consult with maybe somebody that has credit repair experience or like a company like Credit Pulse, because if because you want to be careful when it comes to disputing if you don't know what you're doing. So what I recommend, if you don't know what you're doing, education is king when it comes to any type of consumer law, because essentially it's a law that protects you as a consumer. So it behooves you to do as much research as possible, specifically on what that law is, how it reads, and then understanding how it reads. So that's what we help our clients understand. But if you're doing it yourself, I would just recommend that you do as much research as you can, and then you come back and then you apply that to your best ability.
Mm, absolutely. I know we try to sometimes like do the free approach when it comes to these kind of things because we're trying to save money and we're probably not making a lot of it. So I kind of get that. I know I've been there. But when it comes to like, especially if you're trying to fix your credit, with your end goal being like, hey, I want to own a home. I know you don't want to make mistakes because that might delay you getting there quicker, right? And one thing that, I think what Tamari and I are really trying to do here is just show up so you guys can see like, hey, there is a face, there is a voice behind this credit repair company, there's a voice behind what I do for real estate, so you can get comfortable, be like, hey, you can reach out to us because we win when you win, right? And you win by getting your credit repair fixed. That way you can get the mortgage loan with a very good terms and rate, and then that way we can get you into the house, right? So that's what we're trying to do here, and we're gonna we're going to continue to show up and just, again, I love how you keep saying knowledge, education, because that's a big part of all this because it doesn't get talked about enough.
Yes, knowledge and education allows you to show up and show out as it pertains to your credit report. So the more that you know and the more that you understand your credit report, you can actually teach your family, you can teach people that are close to you about the information. But ultimately, what I've learned is the empathy. We talked about last week,
Mm,
having empathy for whatever situation has happened. Because what I've found is when you're in a situation where your credit's not up to par, you feel like I'm going off with my clients. I can just see where the lack of hope that they have. And when you don't have a plan, it kind of, if you don't have a plan, it gives you a false sense of reality, right? If you have a plan, like when you study for a test in school and you study it back and forth, you want to take that test. You're enthusiastic about taking that test. But when the lack of information and the lack of knowledge, then that's where that unease comes in of like, am I worthy or can I pass that test? And when it comes to the credit test, we can all pass it. We just have to have the information and have people that can really break that down for you.
Yes, I love how you put that too, where if you can be that voice or be that person in the family that understands this stuff, right? I think it just takes one person in a generation to like be like, hey, we can do better or we can rise above this, and it changed the entire trajectory of your path and your whole family's path by understanding financial literacy, how this whole money game works, and this is part of it. And you can and you could do it. You could do it. That's what we're here to help as much as we can, because we've done it. We've done it, and we will continue to do it.
Absolutely, Omar, and that's why I love your podcast and giving me the opportunity to be on your show, because really that's what we're doing. We're empowering people to be that person in their family to say, I'm going to step up. I'm going to take ownership of my credit. So not only can I help myself, I can help my family, and I can, spread the word. And ultimately, what happens is that mantra that comes from that, you want to help your community as well, and that's really what we're talking about, building a community where financial literacy is important and is valued first in your household, actually first for you personally, then it's with your household, and then you spread out to your community, and just be that person or that trendsetter that wants to set up and stand up for your personal credit. So ultimately, when it comes to financial literacy, we're generating that mentality of financial wealth or generational wealth. That's ultimately where what this podcast is really what we're talking about. How can we obtain financial freedom? How can we obtain financial literacy so we can so our kids can be all right, and financially, and then also, you know, uh, we can spread that word to others.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. Okay, so let's move on to the last question here. All right, now we're kind of switching gears here a little bit.
So as far as child support on a credit report, so a child support on a credit report could be a positive item if there's no missed payments. And so if there's no missed payments, it's an installment account, and that's how it reads on the credit report. You can either have an installment account or you can have a revolving account. An installment account represents 10% of your score. A revolving account represents 30% of your score. So a child support trade line essentially is an installment account that represents 10% of your score. So making that payment history and then showing that you're taking care of your obligation of paying for your child, that shows credit worthiness. It's only when you have negative payments and negative payment history where it's a detriment on the credit report. So if it's a detriment on the credit report, the good news is that that's part of consumer law, and you can dispute those items. As far as a child support is an item that you can dispute, much like a bankruptcy, much like a charge off, much like inquiries or too many inquiries. So child support on a personal credit report, there's typically an end, right? So an installment account means there's a term of the contract and there's going to be a beginning and an end, right? The difference between that and revolving credit is we don't ever want to close a revolving account, right? We want to keep up that history going as long as possible, because that builds that anybody that wants to build their score, revolving accounts you want to keep open as long as possible. Installment accounts you want to eventually, you want it to come to an end. And as it pertains to child support, when the child becomes 18 years old, that should be the end uh, on that term, on when that, as far as that item reporting to the credit, as far as being an open account. So it goes from open to closed, right? So once that child becomes 18, now that history just stays there. It's almost like frozen, and then everything that happened before that, it stays on your credit for 10 years on that child support side of things. So then the question is, was it a positive trade line or was it a negative? And that's how each individual we kind of break down, and we break down the credit report as it pertains to the client.
Hmm. Gotcha, gotcha. So as we wrap things up here, one like common kind of thread that I kept noticing was that even though you may have a negative mark on your credit, you I think people kind of feel that it's with them forever, and there's like no way around of it. So it almost feels like you're kind of a chain and shackle, right? And life is heavy, and you don't and who do you turn to? I mean, I'm sure you'll Google like how to fix your credit, but then there's so many results that come from it. I mean, we live in an age where information is at our fingertips, but we get so many options. It's like, who do you choose? Who do you trust? Now, let me tell you, there's not many credit repair companies that do video like this or will go on here to discuss how they do business, what they're about, what they believe in. And Tamari is doing that. That's what's separating him from any other credit repair business that I've come across, is that they talk about it with me, but they don't ever want to do video because for whatever reason. And I hope the YouTube world, 'cause that's where I post our videos, and I can see that that Tamari's out here, he's doing it, and he's putting himself out there to actually help people with figuring out credit repair, because again, it's a topic that does not get talked about enough. It kind of it's just a small part of it, but man, it's so important because yes, maybe you might fix your credit, but you could be that voice, that advocate for other people in your circle to help them too.
Absolutely. And knowledge is power. We keep That's been kind of like the general theme, but also knowledge is a gift, right? And so a true gift is meant to be given away, right? And so that's why, Omar, I love what you're doing, because we're giving away information. It's a gift to other people. It's a gift to people's families. It's a gift to anybody that has any type of goals and aspirations to get out of whatever situation that they're in, and they aspire to be greater. And that's the personal development side of what we all aspire to be as men, as husbands, as sons, as grandfathers. And so ultimately, if we can give that gift away on a podcast that can change somebody's life, how special is that? You know,
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, that's I'm living my purpose if I'm giving away the gifts that have been given to me by a higher power, right? Um, and so by being able to give that information away, and I know that it can help somebody, it really feeds my heart, and that's all I want to do in my life. You know, I want to be able to like help other people, and because of credit repair has helped me so much, as far as being able to give it away. You know, the power of reciprocity, and being able to give that to other people, and then them wanting them to give it to other people. That mantra that comes back around tenfold. It makes you just feel really good as a person. And the more that we're doing that in our life, the more that we wake up and say, how can we help somebody today? How can we, I get so excited on Wednesdays where I know I'm going to talk to you, Omar, and I know we're going to be talking about credit and financial freedom and helping other people. That gets me jazzed every Wednesday, and so naturally in the morning I'm excited, and I'm pumped up anyway. But like talking to you about credit, and knowing that that's helping other people, it really does a lot to me, and feeds my soul.
Thank you, Tamara. Yeah, everyone, when it comes to my line of work, being in real estate, trying to help people buy or sell a home, like uh, everyone that we try to usually target or speak to, it's always people that we want that are ready to go, right? So the people who are not ready to go, like people who need to rebuild their credit, that need a little bit more time, no one ever speaks to them. Like I feel like there's not content or people speaking to them because they're not ready. Well, you figure it out until you get there, and then come talk to me. I feel like there's a lot of folks in my industry that's their frame of mind. And when I was looking at the marketplace, I was like, there are a lot more people that need help trying to figure out, like, with the credit repair first, before they can come and I can help them out and do what I do in real estate. So that's when I was trying to put content out there, and Thomari found me. And I mean, the rest is history. We've been doing content like this for a few months now, and we're going to continue to do it because, man, I see the impact. If you're on YouTube, it's because you're trying to learn how to figure this stuff out. And I challenge you to to break the norm, break the routine of just watching another YouTube video and take action by calling Thomari, setting up a consultation, because that's where it all starts, right? We have to figure out because what's happening with you, and it all starts with a free consultation. And for all my veteran brothers and sisters out there, Thomari first reached out to me because he really wanted to help. And but him, instead of saying thank you for your service like we hear all the time, he wants to not only thank you but show you by offering his services, some of it free of charge. But that's what the call's for, to figure out like how he can best bring value to us. And when he told me that, I was like, I'm all in. I'm all in. Let's band together and see and spread the word.
Absolutely, Omar, and just to to piggyback on that, I've been sending some of the reels and the clips to uh, some of the clients that I have and some of the new clients, and I personally got really great feedback on how just some of these clips have been helping people already, and they've been expressing to me how grateful they are that you have this podcast going on, and that they can and they've literally said, a couple of families have said what they learned and the takes on these on the short clips on these podcasts, that information has literally been more information than they've ever had in their life, and that's pretty
Oh,
powerful when you hear about that, and it makes it where all of this makes sense in terms of why we're doing it. And when you hear that from active clients or clients that just started, where I'm trying to educate them, because what we're doing sometimes, just sending that clip over and then them listening to it, and they may be with their husband or their wife, and then for them to say that they helped them and that's the most information they've ever had, it just confirms that we're doing the right thing, and we're doing it. The purpose is purpose driven.
oh, oh, I haven't. I've seen the love on on my YouTube channel because people are commenting on our videos saying like, "Hey, thanks for what you guys are doing." But and that's always energizing and encouraging. But hearing that from you, Thomari, that just repumped me up to not stop, because it's man, that makes me feel really good.
Well, you, as you should, Omar. You're doing a really great thing, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Uh, I'm glad. I'm glad to be on this journey with you, Thomari. And let's see how far we can take it.